Hey guys, just up on our roof here in Melbourne. Pretty good view in the afternoon. Good time for a beer. I wanted to do a quick video on why you shouldn't, if you have an app idea, why you shouldn't launch your idea as an app initially. Why you should actually wait until later to develop an app, and that you can just start with a web approach. And I've sort of learnt these lessons myself over years of launching my own apps and obviously failing a bunch of things, and then some things going well, and then also helping hundreds of other entrepreneurs to launch their ideas and get investment. So yeah, many people we found in Australia and around the world have these crazy app ideas that they want to launch so that they can sort of take control of their life, and they don't know where to start. And I think there's this big myth around launching as an app is actually costing a lot of entrepreneurs a lot of time and money. And unfortunately, it's actually failing a bunch of startups that probably would have succeeded if they had known the things that I'm about to talk about in this short video. So I hope this is helpful for you. So the first reason that you need to be really careful of launching as an app as opposed to a website is around how many apps people download versus how many websites people visit per month. So a little exercise, if you think about in the last month, think about all of the websites that you visited. So every time you're on Facebook, that's where someone puts an ad to you and you click on it and go through to an article or through to a different website. Anything your friends send you, anytime you're at work, clicking on links from emails. Every time you do that, you're visiting a website. So even if you only do that 3 times a day, which is very little, that's still about 100 a month, close to 100 a month. And when I ask people this question, it usually averages 200 to 300 a month websites versus apps. If you think about how many apps have you actually downloaded onto your phone in the past month, and there's some crazy data out there, but the averages show that for most people it's either 0, none at all, or 1 or 2. So very few apps being downloaded. Now, why is that, right? Why is it that everyone has these app ideas, but then no one's actually downloading apps? It all comes down to what we in the startup industry, we name it as what's called friction. So when you click on a link to go through to a website, there's no real friction in that experience, right? You see the link, you click on it, and there you go, you're on the website, and you can then check out the content there, maybe sign up for a free trial, whatever it is that website's trying to get you to do. You just click the link and then you're there instantaneously. Versus when you're going to download an app, so you see some sort of advertisement or something to download an app, there's a lot of friction involved there, right? So you might have forgotten your password. You might be worried about how much data that you're going to use on your phone by downloading this thing. You might be worried about the total storage on your phone and the hardware in your phone. So people worry about even silly things like people really care about the way that they've organized their apps on their screen. Everything's perfectly organized in this different way. So they then worried about downloading an app to ruin that. So it can be a bunch of silly reasons, but this is the truth, and this is why the numbers are much lower for app downloads than website visits, is because the friction is much higher for downloading an app than visiting a website. What does that mean for you as an entrepreneur? It means that if you launch your idea as an app, then your cost per user, like the total amount of money that you have to spend on marketing to get someone to use your product, is infinitely higher usually for an app product than a website. So it's something really to consider. Another thing to really think about is, what's the experience on your product, and does it actually have to be an app? Many people believe that the only way that you can do location-based sort of services on your platform, that you need to have an app, and that's not true. If you think about it, when you visit lots and lots of websites now in your browser, on your phone, on Google Chrome or on Safari, whatever browser you're using, you'll see a little pop-up coming up saying, is it okay if we know your location? So you can do that on web. You can upload photos and videos on web. You can take photos and videos on web. So lots and lots of the things that sort of new entrepreneurs believe to be imperative to be on an app, you can actually do on web day one. Now, does this mean that I'm saying that you should never have an app? No, not at all. But really what we're saying is that in the early days, you just start your platform as a really nice web experience that kind of feels like an app, but it's on a web link. Your development costs are lower. Your marketing costs are lower, and sort of build up some traction there, and you'll continue raising money as you go. And then in the future, once you've got lots and lots of people loving your product and you've raised more cash, then in the future you can bring out an app as a value add, right? So if people are using your thing every day or every couple of days, then bringing out an app is actually really beneficial for them. Sorry, I've got a helicopter up above me here. He must be interested in what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's not to say that apps are bad. Apps are actually an incredible value add to your audience. If you've already got a large audience and you can launch the app later, they'll love you for it. But it's in most cases, it's not the right way to start. You might be watching this and thinking, well, for games, they need to be apps, and absolutely, in most cases, you might need to start. If you're thinking of doing a mobile game, it's probably going to be an app. That's not something I really know much about, the games industry, and there's people who know a lot more than Pitch Black about that. That's not really the thing that we focus on. So of course, games are in that category. Games are really, really risky and hard to monetize, and we've never done one ourselves, so that's why we don't focus in that space. But really, the majority of ideas that we hear, over 99%, aren't game related. So we've sort of really wanted to target this video towards what we hear a lot of entrepreneurs talking about. The last point that I'll make before I go is be really, really careful about who you're going to help you with your idea. So the reason that a lot of app ideas end up on the market as an app is because people have a crazy idea for an app, and then they Google search how to make an app or where to get an app made, and up comes all of these sort of local app development companies that are agencies that build apps as a service. Now the problem there is that the founders of those companies have nearly never actually launched their own successful startup. So they're sort of helping other entrepreneurs as a service, but they've never done it themselves, which is very dangerous. And also, their intentions aren't really linked with what will make you successful, right? So based on the things I've just mentioned there, you can see how it can be a lot easier to launch as a non-app. But if you're an app development company, for your idea, they might be charging, it might be like 50 or 60 grand to build it on web, versus a lot of agencies in Australia charge 100, 200, 300 grand just to build the first version of an app on Apple and Android. Of course they're going to tell you that you need to do an app and that you're going to lose if you don't, because they make 4 to 5 times the amount of money by telling you that. So you've also got to really think about, when you're looking for the people to help you to do your startup, you need to look at like how do they make money? How are they incentivized? Is their business model created in a way that where they can give you non-biased advice and not push you down a particular direction just because they will make more money from it? So anyways, I hope that's really helpful. If you've got an app idea, start thinking about how you could launch that actually as a website first, get it off the ground, get some traction. Then later on, once you've raised more money and you've got lots of customers, then you can bring the app out as a value add. Hope that was helpful.